Hello and welcome to Kent Tonight live on KMTV. I'm Leila Mohammed and here are your top stories on Thursday the 23rd of April. It's a systemic failure. GP staff claim ongoing IT failures pose a very real risk to patient safety.
I think this is something that we're all very much accustomed to. It's a sort of like NHS equivalent of the potholes in the road, really.
They're not welcome here. Sheppey businesses fight back against parking tariffs by banning councillors from entering.
The car park's empty every single day. During the week, the sun's out, we've got usual people in the garden and stuff, we're having no one at the minute.
And finally, harnessing the power of the tide. Inventors in Kent say there should be more focus on tidal power as a source of energy.
Nothing has happened here, despite the fact that we have the River Severn.
Your top story tonight. Local doctors and GP staff are highlighting widespread IT disruptions, causing major concerns for patient safety. They say systems are failing unpredictably, sometimes multiple times a week, leaving staff unable to access records, process appointments or deliver care as normal. Kristen Hawthorne has the report.
Across Kent and Medway, GP practices are dealing with ongoing IT disruptions, with systems failing unpredictably, and in some cases, multiple times a week. At one local surgery, staff say outages now happen as often as twice weekly and sometimes last several hours.
In the last probably 6 months, it's happening every single week, at least twice a week. We don't know why. It's in the mornings, it's usually Mondays or Fridays. We don't know why. We have said put that to IT. And it can go down from anything from 1 hour to 4 hours. But yeah, we're not too sure why, and it can sometimes be all the internet, it can sometimes be the whole screens, we can't even log in. Sometimes it can affect the phone lines, sometimes it doesn't, so there's no set pattern each week.
And inside the consulting room, the impact is clear.
Many of the consultations that people have are consultations where they're coming back for results. And that could be, we've sent them for investigations such as, it could be something as simple as an X-ray, it could be an ultrasound scan, it could be some other kind of test like a blood pressure monitoring investigation that they've had. You don't have that information available. So to all extents and purposes, that would be very much a wasted conversation. The only situations where you might be able to extract some value from that encounter is where people are coming perhaps for the first time. It's actually one of the worst aspects, I think, of working in general practice, actually, is the quality of the IT system.
For receptionist staff, patient frustration is often directed at them, as patients struggle to access appointments or test results, and sometimes assume the issue lies with the practice.
Sometimes they're sympathetic, a lot of times they're not. They're disgruntled because they've probably waited a while for their appointments that they've booked. They're obviously ill, they're not in the best health, so they want to see someone. If you're telling them there's even more of a delay, or if they are going to see the doctor or the clinician and they might not get their needs met as their expectations, they're even more disgruntled, and then sometimes they think, we might be making it up.
Because of the IT failures, patients that are unable to see their doctor or get the care they need are oftentimes having to be diverted to A&E, urgent care and secondary services, creating a wider impact across the NHS. I reached out to the NHS Integrated Care Board for a comment, but have not yet received a response. Kristen Hawthorne, KMTV, Gravesend.
Next, get out of our pub. That's what one Queenborough pub manager said when asked if the councillors who voted for introducing parking tariffs could come in. 5 businesses in the seaside town have put up posters barring these councillors as the new parking tariffs have left their businesses empty, they say. Our reporter Megan Shaw went to meet them.
They're not welcome here, reads posters put up in businesses across a Sheppey town, after Swilborough Council implemented charges on car parks that, until the beginning of this month, were free. And this is one of the car parks in Queenborough that you now need to pay to stay in. The sun is out, it's only 3 p.m, and yet where is everyone? This car park, apart from the 2 cars I can see, is very large and very empty. I've even seen cars drive in and drive out without even staying. Some businesses are so infuriated by the paid car parks that they've put signs in their windows saying the Swale Borough councillors responsible are actually banned. So I went to go meet them.
Customers love my food, they love my service, that's why I don't want to lose my customers, and I offer them, if they park their car in the park, I will pay them first 1 hour. But I can do this, I do this now, but if this times to 1 year every day, if I pay them, it's cost me too much money.
In Queenborough, there are 2 car parks that visitors must now pay to stay in, starting at £1.60 an hour. These posters name and shame the councillors that voted for these new measures, which was started by the Flying Dutchman when the proposals were initially introduced last year. Although the landlord didn't want to chat, the bar manager, stopping at the nearby Rose Inn, told me business was on the rocks.
Yep, it's affecting us massively. The car park's empty every single day. During the week, the sun's out. We've got usual people in the garden and stuff. We're having no one at the minute. Very, very quiet. Parties, everything is just at least halved.
If one of those councillors walked into your restaurant, would you serve them?
No, not just for my business. I don't want to serve them because they don't live here. They don't know what's the problem here.
No, get out our park.
Honestly, I don't want to ban them. They don't even know where we are, to be fair to them. They want to come in, I'll take their money because we need it to survive at the moment.
Charles was the only councillor mentioned on the sign who was up for chatting.
I mean, obviously businesses are entitled to serve who they want, that's their prerogative. It's wouldn't be my way of operating. And one of the really annoying, boring bits of local government rules is money that you make on parking can only be spent on parking stuff. So this pot of money that we had available to put in these machines and generate this income could only be used for that.
But with things not set to change for the foreseeable, it's up to the businesses then to see the glass as half full rather than half empty. Megan Shaw for KMTV in Queenborough.
Next, a man who was shot by police officers at his home has been charged with 6 offences, including possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. Police attended an address in Ashford Road, Hollingbourne in July to conduct an arrest for an outstanding warrant. While conducting the warrant, Sean O'Meara was shot, arrested and taken to hospital with life-changing injuries. O'Meara appeared by video link during a hearing at Medway Magistrates Court today. He spoke only to confirm his name and date of birth before being remanded into custody ahead of a further court hearing. Now, a bridge between past, present and future, and also both sides of the Embankment Marina, as Gravesend gets a new swing bridge across the canal basin after 3 years of it being closed off. It's great news for those walking the King Charles III England Coastal Path, as they no longer need to divert from the coastal route by walking through the town centre, as Megan Shaw went to find out.
He swings, he scores. And with the ribbon cut, the swing bridge across the Gravesend Canal Basin was in place, the first new one since 1983. Now, it's been 3 long years since walking from one side of the marina to the other has been possible, as the previous bridge was rotting. It also completes the King Charles III English Coastal Path here in Kent, and that's a 2,689-mile-long path, the world's largest, in fact, stretching round the English coast. For those here in Kent, it means that rather than going a long way round in Gravesend, walkers can continue across the bridge and enjoy the sight of the Thames beside them.
Walkers and cyclists are again so enthusiastic and so passionate about what they do. And of course, if part of the pathway, or indeed all of it at one point, wasn't open to them, they got a bit cross, and I could understand that. So again, it's just watching that passion and enthusiasm. And of course, without all of that, where would Gravesham be? Where would any community be? We'd be lost.
The Embankment Marina, which looks after moored boats, is run by Sharon Brokenshire, who's been the brains behind the operation to reconnect the marina.
Thanks to funding from Kent County Council shared with us, we've managed to get the money together and to very cleverly put together a team of very, very skilled artisans, of skilled workmen to be able to help us to put a bridge in that is like what we imagine it would have been like in the 19th century.
But it also seems that wooden bridges aren't the only ones being built in Gravesend.
Well, as a sailing club, we wouldn't normally celebrate the opening of a bridge because obviously we can't go under them. But this is slightly different because now we'll be able to, when walkers come along to the end of the prom and ask us why can't they get across the bridge, and we have to disappoint them and say, well, it's been closed for a number of years, and send them the long way around to get onto to restart the footpath the other side of the bridge. We won't have that issue now.
It was an expensive project, estimated to cost up to £90,000. But for those here to celebrate, it does not seem to have been a bridge too far. Megan Shaw for KMTV in Gravesend.
Now it's time for a short break, but do stick around as we'll be speaking to Maisie Walker about the new sci-fi project Hail Mary. We'll also take a look at the Kent Food and Drinks Awards and the weather, so do stick around and we'll see you soon. Hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight Live on KMTV. Now, Kent Fire Service has warned it may have to shut some stations as it grapples with growing financial pressures. Staff at Kent Fire and Rescue Service are currently being consulted on a range of potential changes, with chiefs saying that they're at an early stage and no final decisions have been made. The service says it's working through data and risk analysis ahead of a formal public consultation expected to launch later this summer. But the authority's chief executive, Anne Millington, admits closures of on-call stations are likely to form part of the proposals. And this evening, the top 3 from 12 categories will find out who is the county's official favourite at the Kent Messenger Group's Kent and Medway Food and Drink Awards. From imaginative ice cream scoops to crafty international plates, which businesses will take home the trophy? Well, Chloe Brewster is down in Chilston Park for the ceremony and sent us this quick chat with the organiser. This year saw a record number of people voting for their favourite foodie hotspots across the county, and today their achievements will be celebrated. I'm joined by Sharon, your head of events at iLift Media. Can you tell me, what does today's awards mean to you?
A great deal. It's an opportunity for us, KM Media Group, to recognise those people in the hospitality sector, in food and drink, that have had a hard few years. It's an opportunity to give them a pat on the back and a bit of recognition, and they can feel and see their achievements are being rewarded.
And how important is it that it's the readers, it's the people actually in Kent that are choosing their favourite spots?
Yeah, absolutely. So rather than asking for the establishments to nominate themselves, we've allowed members of the public to do it for them. So it's their customer base that is voting for them. I just think it gives a lot of credibility to the whole process. And to see that their customers are there in support means a great deal to these businesses.
And tell me about the awards. How many different categories? What are the chances of winning tonight?
So there's a 1 in 3 chance of winning every single category. There are 3 finalists in each of the 12 categories, and they range from tea room, coffee shop of the year through to chef of the year. So 12 categories. We're really looking forward to revealing our winners, and we'll find out soon who they are.
And how important is it at the moment to support local businesses here in Kent with sort of the economic climate at the moment?
So the economy's pretty hard. These guys have had hospitality in general has been very, very tough over the last few years. So it's important that that they can get the recognition they deserve, and we're proud that we can do that for them.
Amazing, thank you so much for joining.
You're welcome.
And speaking of ice creams, it's now time to take a look at the weather. This evening we'll see partly cloudy skies across much of Kent with temperatures around 10 degrees across the county, wind speeds of 14 on the coast and 12 in the west. Into tomorrow morning, clearer skies, though clouds do remain over Dartford, Medway and Maidstone. Temperatures slightly lower with highs of 9 in Dover and Margate. And into the afternoon, bright sun across the county, temperatures rising to an average of 14 degrees with highs of 16 in Tunbridge Wells. And your outlook for the rest of the week, a bright sunny weekend, temperatures of 14 degrees reaching 17 degrees on Sunday before light clouds return on Monday. And this week, the British government have set out plans to weaken the link between the cost of electricity and volatile gas prices in a bid to lower consumer bills by accelerating clean energy. So far, wind generation is the highest source of renewable energy in the UK, but one inventor in Kent believes tidal power is the way to go. So I went out to Medway Marina to find out why.
Renewable energy now produces around 40% of the total supply in the UK, and leading the way, wind power. But according to the National Grid, hydropower is harnessed the least. And for one inventor from the Kent Inventors Forum, current schemes to get this energy are not enough.
But the problem is it makes a real mess of the environment. It interferes with navigation. And although I believe they are doing this in China, and there have been 1 or 2 other installations elsewhere in Europe, nothing has happened here, despite the fact that we have the River Severn, which is the best potential source of tidal power in the world, with a rise and fall of 15 metres.
Most often the tide can come in as high as this. That's 5 metres tall.
And you can even see here they've had to extend the pillar with 2 metal prongs because the tide comes in even higher than that, which is why Tom says that tidal power is such a great source of renewable energy. It's not weather dependent, it's not solar dependent, it comes in and out twice a day, and it's not impacted by global dynamics.
So another member of the Kent Inventors Forum, Ray Laws, created a scheme called sea bags, and this is how it works. When the tide comes in, the sea bag gets filled with water, which causes the pontoon to rise. This then sucks in the water through a turbine, which lifts the water to an elevated reservoir. Then, when the tide goes out, the pontoon descends, which compresses the sea bag and drives water through a turbine, which lifts water to the reservoir, generating energy.
At the moment, there isn't a prototype of the sea bags because the funding isn't there, and they've had to dig out of their personal pockets to get it this far anyway. Instead, Tom wants people to understand that this is a scheme unlike any other, and that people should actually back British inventors and that renewable energy should come from Britain.
We have this tremendous amount of talent in Britain. I mean, in our Inventors Forum, we have a man who has a very simple idea that will show a householder if his cistern is leaking water into the cistern. Why is somebody not willing to put a few pounds into this?
Tom says that at least £25,000 is needed to fund the initial scheme and is calling on the government and other funders to recognise its importance. But with energy prices forecast to rise this July, will the UK harness the power of the tide? Naila Mohammed for KMTV at Medway Bay Marina.
Now, a new dystopian series set at a Kent beach has started filming, with an award-winning actress spotted on set. Anna Friel, known for Limitless, Perfect and for winning an Emmy for Best Actress in Marcella, has joined the cast of The Dreamlands, based on a novel of the same name. It follows the UK in 2039, showing a world of soaring temperatures and rising seas, and will also show local landmarks of Margate, like Dreamland. The 6-part drama will air on the BBC, but there's no release date yet. And finally, joining me in the studio today is our very own Maisie Walker, here to talk about the latest movie releases ahead of tonight's Kent Film Club. So Maisie, you've been talking about this movie non-stop since it's come out. So tell me, why do you love Project Hail Mary so much?
Well, Naila, because it's a maze, of course.
Of course.
But people's love for this movie has extended way, excuse the pun, but way past Earth now, with... when Commander Reed Wiseman described the view of Earth and the moon on the Orion spacecraft, so obviously I'm talking about Artemis here, a voice from Mission Control responded, amaze, 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 which is a direct reference to Rocky in Hail Mary. And, more onto kind of the cinematography, it's so beautifully shot. And it takes you through a wide range of emotions. Like, you know how emotional I am. I was crying, I was laughing, I was angry, then I was probably crying again. And what I love most is that they make Grace like a real person. He's not, trying to be Captain America or some hero. He is genuinely a flawed person, because let's be real, if someone rocked up and said, hey, yeah, you're going to go to space and save the world, you'd be like, what? No, I'm not going. So I like that they made him feel real. I also, of course, developed, a very deep emotional connection to Rocky, as one does. I love that guy. I love that guy so much. I saw it, that's the English literature nerd in me, as some kind of metaphor for humanity. We may look different and speak different languages, but love is universal. And when Rocky talks about his partner, to Grace, and he says, about the amount of time that they've had together, and he just goes, it's not enough. I think that's so beautiful and just so real.
Absolutely. You've echoed everything that I was about to say about the movie anyway, but I very much feel the same way. I feel like they've showed empathy in a completely different way, which is what I really loved about the movie. But moving on to another one of both our obsessions, actually, it's Young Sherlock, which actually has a bit of a connection to Kent.
Oh, yeah. It's only, quite a small connection, but obviously a little bit of a spoiler here is that in this certain bit of the show, when the princess is coming down to England, she uses Dover to kind of get there. And what I really like about this show is not just how beautiful it's shot, but also it's kind of following Sherlock as he's finding his feet. He's not very comfortable with himself or his intellect just yet. Like you see throughout the series that you're picking up clues, and he's kind of like, I don't know if I trust this, I don't know if this is right. And And, you know, I feel like that's something that we all can relate to as human, kind of trusting, you know, that inner voice sometimes. And it's just nice seeing that subtle representation in him. And of course, you know, your obsession as well, Naylor, the man, the myth, the legend, Donald Finn, who I mainly know through Hadestown.
And that actually brings us on to our next point, which is Hadestown. And now this isn't a film, it's a theatre play. So tell me a little bit about that obsession.
Well, where do I start? Where do I start with this one? Honestly, I could yap about this for days. It's just so beautiful, and it follows the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice, which, you know, is just heartbreaking, and it's so tragic. You know, it's about this man who falls in love with the girl, you know, as it usually, you know, any great story starts. And basically what happens, you know, it varies according to some myths. Obviously, it's different in the play, but you know, he kind of, you know, in this certain myth, she's bit by a snake, and then she's obviously, you know, she died, and then Orpheus is so distraught that he travels down to the underworld and plays on his lyre. So it's actually referenced in Harry Potter as well with the three, what is it, Cerberus, I think it is?
The dog?
Yeah,
three-headed dog.
He kind of sings Cerberus to sleep to get through to the underworld, and he sees Hades and Persephone, and he's like, I need her back. I need this love again. And ultimately, Hades is, you know, persuade, but only with a cost, and that's he can't look back. But there's actually a poem I saw I think it was a couple days ago, where it's like it's only nature to look back, which is obviously what Orpheus does in the end.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Maisie. Now, you've been watching Kent Tonight live on KMTV, and we'll see you again tomorrow evening for some more news.